Hi, I'm Emily.
And I'm Lindsay.
And welcome back.
Today we'll be talking about JFK's assassination and all the conspiracies surrounding it.
Okay, so let's start with the facts. President John F. Kennedy was assassinated on November 22nd, 1963 at 12:30 p.m. while riding in a motorcade in Dallas during a campaign visit. Kennedy's motorcade was turning past a Texas school book depository at Dealey Plaza with crowds lining the streets when shots ran out.
By 2:15 p.m., Lee Harvey Oswald, a new employee at the book depository, was arrested for JFK's assassination as well as the fatal 1:15 p.m. shooting of Dallas patrolman J.D. Tippit. 2 days later, on November 24th, Oswald would be murdered by local nightclub owner and police informant Jack Ruby at a point-blank range and on live TV.
However, this is just what the government tells us. And in fact, in 2013, 62% of people believed that there was more to the Kennedy's assassination than Lee Harvey Oswald. And the statistic is actually backed by a few facts, including the fact that the Warren Commission was unable to demonstrate that Oswald had actually committed the crime alone. And two important pieces of evidence showed that he did not play any part in the shooting, including the poor condition of his rifle and the absence of gunpowder residues on Oswald's cheeks. The experts from the U.S. Army and the FBI who tested the rifle discovered that it was actually not able to use in the state that they found it in. It was not able to be aimed properly, and it was unreliable and inaccurate, showing that if he did shoot JFK, it was completely by accident. Another fact is that when Oswald was pulled in after the assassination, he had to undergo a test that is carried out on people who are suspected of having fired a gun. This includes liquid wax being spread on his hands and his right cheek. When the wax is hardened, it shows if you had any gunpowder residue on those parts of your body. The only residues Oswald had on his body was on his hands, and it's a residue that is also found in ink, which, since he worked at the depository, could easily have been through that. Because of the fact that he had no residue on his cheeks, it very well may show that he did not shoot the gun that killed JFK.
If it wasn't Oswald who shot him, it could have been someone else in the crowd. One of the popular theories about a crowd member is the Umbrella Man. On this day, one man held a black umbrella. It was a sunny day, and in all of the footage and pictures from that day, no one was wearing long sleeves, coats, or had an open umbrella with them. Only this one man. It is believed that he shot a poison dart into JFK's neck in order to immobilize him to make the killing easier. Charles Cincinnati made a variation of this umbrella. He was a Department of Defense weapons developer. He described an umbrella-like weapon able to fire darts to a Congress committee investigating the assassination. Jim Mars, a book author, also created a sketch of what this may look like. One shot was heard right in front of the Umbrella Man with his open umbrella. Before and after the assassination, the umbrella was closed, meaning that it had to do something with the assassination. He was seen potentially signaling other gunmen with this umbrella, doing things like lifting it up. Louis Stephen Witt is the actual Umbrella Man. He showed up with an umbrella to a Congress committee evaluating the assassination, and after, there was no check for the umbrella to see if it was the same one he had that day, or a check in his house or of his possessions to also check to see if it was the same umbrella or if it was a second one. He told them that the umbrella was a symbol of protest for JFK's father. Umbrellas were not an uncommon symbol of protest at the time. It also was said that he was seen sitting down with another man after the assassination while everyone else was fleeing, and he said he did this because he couldn't see JFK get shot due to the umbrella obstructing his view, so he remained generally calm after. However, the umbrella was seen high above his head in pictures, in no way blocking his eyes.
A second theory that many people believe in is the theory that there were actually multiple gunmen who shot JFK. This is backed by the House Select Committee on Assassinations that released a report in 1979. It contained a shocking discovery that there was evidence of a high probability that two gunmen fired at JFK. The committee hired people to listen to the recordings, and they said that they could identify 4 separate gunshots on the recording. 3 from the depository in Oswald, and one from the grassy knoll. Since 2 shooting locations mean that there are at least 2 gunmen, the committee said that President Kennedy was probably assassinated as a result of conspiracy. However, a few years later, the same committee re-examined the recording, and they said that there was not 4 shots, and there was just 3. Another aspect of this theory is the fact that one of the bullets injured both JFK and the governor who was sitting in the car in front of him. However, the physics of how high the building was made it almost impossible for Oswald to have hit them both in that way, including the fact that the building was behind them. Studies found that the bullet simply could not have gone in and out of JFK's neck and then hit the governor in the neck as well. Because of this, many people suspect that there were multiple gunmen, because the way that the bullets went, it just couldn't have happened. In fact, in a poll conducted in 1963, Gallup found that 29% of Americans believed that Oswald was the only person responsible for the shooting, and 52% believed that others were involved as well. A majority of Americans have maintained that others were involved in the shooting each time that Gallup has done this question in the past 50 years, showing that the majority of America believes in this theory.
A third theory is that at the time, Vice President LBJ wanted to have JFK killed so he could become president. It is based on statements by Madeleine Brown, a woman who claimed to have an affair with LBJ. She said that LBJ had attended a party with Richard Nixon, FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover, and other important governmental figures the night before the attack. She claims that LBJ whispered in her ear, "After tomorrow, those Kennedys will never embarrass me again. That's no threat, that's a promise." However, there's no way to confirm this because there's no proof that either of them were at a party or even knew each other. LBJ's wife wrote in her diary the events of that day. She wrote, "Through it all, Lyndon was remarkably calm and quiet. He said we had to move the plane to another part of the field. He spoke of going back out to the plane in black cars." So LBJ was very calm even after the president was just shot and killed. He also was rushing getting back onto the plane. LBJ was sworn in at 2:30 on Air Force One, an hour and a half after JFK was pronounced dead at 1 p.m. Air Force One was on its way to Washington, D.C. when he was inaugurated in it, so why did he just not wait until they arrived?
Along with this, many people have stated that LBJ pushed Kennedy into campaigning in Texas and that he didn't want to do it. Think about today, you may wonder why a Democratic candidate would campaign in Texas, a hugely Republican state. However, back in the early 60s, Texas was still voting Democratic most of the time and had actually voted for Kennedy in the 1960 election. This raises the question of why LBJ would want them to campaign so early in the campaign process in Texas when they had won the election last time. However, many people have said that this could mean that LBJ hired someone to kill Kennedy on a specific date and wanted to make sure it happened. So he pushed him until Kennedy finally agreed to campaigning in Dallas, Texas.
One final thing to think about is JFK's autopsy. The autopsy done on Kennedy was less than complete. The body of the president was taken illegally from Parkland Hospital and flown back to Bethesda, where doctors had rarely completed an autopsy before in their lives, and they were assigned with the job of taking the president's body to do an autopsy report under the observation of superiors. When Parkland Hospital doctors called Bethesda to tell them to explore the throat wound for a bullet, it did not take place, showing that there could have been foul play when it came to his autopsy. Overall, there are many theories about JFK's assassination. However, none of these theories have enough evidence to prove that they are true.
Because of this, we have no reason to say that any of these theories are true, except for what the government has said, that Oswald was the lone killer in JFK's assassination. However, in a few years, once all of the confidential files surrounding JFK's assassination are released, we may find that some of these theories are partially true. Thanks for watching.